Morning, Aija.
Hello.
Are you well?
Yes.
Your friends are going to join.
I
Who
think so.
else is joining today? Just make sure that you can hear me. Give me an indication of how good the sound is. Good morning, Amira. Are you well?
Morning.
Your sound is very good.
I'm good.
Are you in the same center as Alicia?
No, I'm at school and Alia is at home.
Alia is at home. Okay, that's why your sound is so good. Okay, Alia, just give me indication of. Pardon? Amira?
Ibrahim is also in my class, but he doesn't have his phone, so he'll just share with me.
Sit with you. And he's new.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so we have Alia and Amira again, because you were with me in the science class, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome to the class, Ibrahim.
Hello.
Hi. Okay.
How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. We're going to start. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same wicket. Alia, you must just give me indication of how good you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, wonderful. This is your assessment planning. Can you see the screen? You can keep yourself unmuted unless you've got some other dog or something barking at the background, or if it's very noisy. Just keep yourself unmuted because it's easier to just keep on talking with me. This is assessment planning for maths that I got. Do you have something like this?
First time I'm seeing it.
It's your first time you're seeing it. Okay, so I'm assuming that in the first term, we're going to be looking at normal algebra and also analytical geometry, because you're writing a test on that on the 16th of the 3rd. And then also during term 1, there is number patterns and again, analytical geometry, and there's going to be a task on that. So what we need to do, we can't really start with number patterns because something in the algebra section that you have to learn before we can start with number patterns. But the number patterns are quite important because they are, well, you're going to do a task on that first, that and analytical geometry. So we're going to look at algebra today, but that is just so that you can make a start. We can't do all the algebra. That's just so that you can make a start with number patterns. Okay. Who of you have actually started with anything? Anything in math? Nothing.
I received my textbook, so I just read through like the first chapter.
The first chapter was on what?
It was also on algebra and number patterns.
Okay, good. Right. There's just something in the algebra section that we have to do today. There's a couple of things we have to do today. Otherwise, you can't do the more complicated number pattern examples. So we have to complete that first. I'd like to start with number patterns as soon as possible, simply because your task that is first is going to comprise of number patterns and analytical geometry. Now, analytical geometry is really easy. 90% of your analytical geometry will be consisting of grade 10 work, stuff that you've completed. So that's a big plus. Well, the number patterns, there's some new stuff there, a lot of new stuff, and there's also new stuff in your algebra section. So you've got a calculator in front of you, textbook or something you can write on and write with. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to function well. Right, good. Right. Okay, look at the following. So for instance, this is like grade 10 work. So for instance, I ask you to solve X in the formula below. Can you actually do that? Who of you can do that? What's the first step, Mira? Or Ibrahim? Ibrahim, do you know what to do? Factorize. Okay, can you factorize that?
Shouldn't you get?
I can't hear you, Ibrahim.
No, okay.
Okay, who of you can factorize that trinomial? Yes. Okay, I want a yes or a no answer, please. Amira, can you factorize that trinomial? Alia?
Yes, I can factorize it.
All right, that's going to be 2 brackets, isn't it? And 2x, x, 3, 1. Negative. Oh, this is wrong. Look at this. Why is that wrong? Because a plus times a negative doesn't give me a plus. So those factors are wrong. Okay, there's other ways of actually knowing which are the right factors. So this will be negative, negative. Is that correct? Who of you factorized it like that? So
Yes,
Amira,
correct.
that's correct. Can someone give me the answers? X equals what? 3/2 or 1?
X is equal to net. Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Just please, this is grade 10 work. Just give me indication. Can you do it? Yes or no? Amira. Can you do this?
Okay, yeah.
And Alia?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All of you can do it. Okay, this is good. But the problem is this is like grade 10 stuff. And we can all just through normal factorization get the answer. But look at the following example. This one on the right. That can't be factorized. We can't solve X here by just doing the normal factorization. Then we need something called the quadratic formula. And this is the quadratic formula. Who of you have seen that formula? No, not seen it yet.
Which one are we talking about?
The formula I'm going to make in pink. Oh, okay, that's grade 11 stuff. Now look at this trinomial here. The number in front of the x square is a. The value in front of the x is b. That's the second term. So that's -5. And the value that's constant, that doesn't have an x, is the c value. That is 1. And you're going to put that into your formula. The formula is x equals minus b plus minus the root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Right. Now you're going to take your calculator and do that. I'm first going to fill in the values. So x equals minus -5, that's b, plus minus the root of -5 square minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. Okay, now put that in your calculator. I'm going to put a calculator up in the screen, which you can't see yet. I just want to show you how I'm going to put that in the calculator. I need to share a new screen with you. I think it's this one. Can you all see a calculator now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the fraction sign in my calculator. And then I'm going to type in negative bracket -5, close the bracket, and then only a plus, and then the root. Now I can do -5 in my head. It's just 25. Minus 4 bracket, 2 in the brackets, a new set of brackets with a 1 in it, which I can just skip because I mean that's just 1. And then I put 2 times 2 at the bottom, which is 4. Would you be able to put that in a calculator? And then I get 5 plus root 17 over 4. Okay, what's that? That is 2,28. So x equals 2,28. Now look at what I'm doing. I'm going to go back and change that plus sign in front of the bracket. I'm going to change to a negative. And then press equal again. And that will give me the negative root value. So, or x equals what? 0,22. Okay, so now you've got a formula in which you can factorize or get values, solve x values for quadratic equations. You never have to factorize again. In other words, you don't have to. This is not necessary anymore. You can still use it, but factorization only works with trinomials that can be factorized. Those that can't be factorized, you're going to solve with the equation rounding off to 2 decimals. Who is with me? Sort of. Come, Amira, answer. Ms. Ahmed?
I'm a bit confused.
You're a bit confused. Okay, that's normal. That's actually the answer I wanted. So what we're going to do today, we have to practice to solve x because we're going to do quadratic patterns. And if you can't use this formula, then you can't solve the quadratic patterns. That's a problem. Okay. So before we can do the number patterns, we must be able to do this formula. So we're going to do a couple of examples. I'm going to import this formula into the next examples, and then we're going to practice this. Okay, so there we go. So what I want you to do, I want you to solve x in the following quadratic equation. 2x squared plus 5x plus 4 is 0. Okay, let's just do it together. So this is the way you're going to answer this in the exam. X equals minus b plus minus root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, anyone? And I want Abraham to be first. Can you tell me what is the a value of that equation? The a value is the value in front of the x squared.
2.
2. Can anyone tell me what the b value is?
5.
5. And Alia, C value, please?
4.
4. Excellent. So this is step 1. Step 2 is going to be substitution. You get a mark for that in the exam. You're going to write minus the b value plus minus the root of the b square minus 4 times the a value times the c value over 2 times the a value. Now I want you to put this into your calculator. I want you to put that with a plus first. Everyone, take your calculator, put that exactly like it is there, because you have those Casio calculators.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to put that in exactly as it is, just with a plus first. And then you tell me what value you get. Oh my word. I have a problem here. I get an error. Tell me if you get an error.
I also get error.
Yeah, okay, we're going to change something. Sorry, I want to change something. There's a typing mistake here. That mustn't be plus 4. It must be a negative 4. So the C value is negative 4. Just change that to a negative 4. Good. Put the negative 4 in and give me the answer in 2 decimals.
It's 0.637 something.
Awesome. 0.64 or x equals. Now you go back and you change that positive to a negative.
Negative
Tell me what value you get.
3.1.
0,
Negative. I have negative 3.14.
excellent. Okay, can anyone confirm that you got this numbers values? Alia?
Yes, I got the same.
Okay, just one more thing. Who of you has got that silver calculator? Or do you all have
I
the
have.
black ones? Who's got the silver calculator?
I have the silver.
You have
I
the
have the
silver one.
silver.
Okay, now, very important. Look
Yes.
at the following. The silver calculator is like a cheating calculator. You're not really allowed to use it in the CAP syllabus, but no one knows that, so everyone is using it. Especially if you have science, this is an excellent calculator to have. Now, I want you to look at what I'm doing now. Everything I'm doing now is recorded, so you can go and look at the video again. If you have a silver calculator, then you're going to do exactly what we did here. Exactly. You're going to be writing this step. You're going to writing that step. But with a silver calculator, you're not going to type this. You're not going to type this. It takes too long. So with a silver calculator, look at what I'm doing at the moment. Following. I'm going to do the following. I'm going to go to mode, and then I'm going to go to number 5. Number 5 on this calculator, the other calculator doesn't have it, has an equation setting. It solves your equation for you. So now I'm going to go to 5, and I'm going to select number 3. Look at number 3. It's ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's a quadratic equation. So I'm going to type number 3, and then number 3 is asking me, what is my a value? Well, it's 2. And ask, what is the b value? It's 5. What is the c value? Well, it's negative 4. And then I'm just going to do equal. And there's the first value. It's 0.64. And then I'm going to equal. There's the second value. That is negative 3.14. So that calculator just saves you a lot of work. Also, this calculator gives you a lot of other stuff. It gives you the minimum value, and it gives you the y value of the minimum. That we're going to look at later on. So this is an awesome calculator. It's got a lot of equations. It helps you to solve a lot of equation stuff. Okay, good. Right, but at the moment, you are going to struggle with a calculator. So unless you know exactly what to do, I want you to revert back to the normal setup. I'm going to make this small again, or delete it. And we're going to try the next one. Okay, if one of them don't work, then I'll explain why. Negative 5x plus x squared minus 7 is 0. And I want you to solve x by using that equation. I want you to go. There is something in this equation that is not cool. Who can tell me that? Something is not right. Alia, tell me that you spotted something in this equation that is not kosher. What's that?
I don't know.
Can you see that it's not in the right form? The quadratic term must be first, then my middle term, and then the constant term. So I have mixed this equation around to try and solve the problem. But now I've rewritten it correctly. And now you can use that equation. So you can say x equals minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You have to fill in the values. I'm not going to solve it for you. I'm going to leave it there. Please get the answers for me. And if you've got a silver calculator, you can test your answers. Right. If I answer, then you can just give me indication. Okay, I got the answer. Ibrahim?
Still working on it.
Okay, awesome. You have to be able to do this stuff before we can do more complicated number patterns. First person who got the answer, one of the answers is 6,14, the other one is negative 1,14. Right, Elijah,
Yes.
got it. If you're finished, put up the yellow hand. Put up your hand if you are finished. Come, Amira.
I'm not sure why my answer isn't working out.
Okay, all right, let's sort that out. So you have negative, negative 5. No, because B is not 5, B is negative 5. So A is 1, B is negative 5, and C is negative 7. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have negative, negative 5 plus minus the root of negative 5 square, which is just going to be 25, minus 4 times A times C over 2 times A. Is that correct? Did you get that?
Okay, now I found my problem.
Okay, yeah. Look, this is really a matter of accuracy. Okay, and then I type that in, or I do the service calculate stuff. Do you get 6,14 or x equals negative 1,14? Did you get that? Good. Right. Maybe you are ready now to do the next one on your own. If you don't have it, if you can't solve it, then you let me know, we redo it. 3x squared minus 2x equals 4. Okay, before we start, I want you to rearrange that, help me to rearrange that equation so that it's in right format. Can you do that? Come, I need you to talk with me.
Yes.
Miss Ahmed, is it 3x squared minus 2x what? Minus 4 is 0.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I want you to solve x quickly. Go. And then give me the answers. X equals minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. If I don't write that, I lose a mark. I lose one of the 3 marks. If I don't fill it in, I lose a mark. Those 2 steps you have to do. The answer, I'll show you how they mark it. 1 mark is for filling in the equation. If you don't write the equation, if you don't fill it in, you don't get that mark. 1 mark is for the one answer, 1 mark is for the other answer.
Can I give you the answer just to see if I'm right?
Yeah.
For the plus one, I got 1,30. And for the negative, I got -2,30.
Ooh, who's got that? I don't have those values. Who's got other values?
I got 1,53 and -0,87.
Yeah, those are the correct answers. So someone is making sign errors on your signs. Okay, so I get 1,54 if I round it off to 2 decimals, and I get -0,87. I think what you're doing, Amira, you're not putting this negative in.
No, for the A, instead of putting 3, I put 2 at the bottom. As a
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is the type of sums that you're going to kick yourself in the butt if you get it wrong, because there's nothing difficult. You get this formula on a sheet. They give you that formula. Awesome. They give it to you. You need to just be able to fill it in. So if you have the silver calculator, that's why I'm always telling you to cheat with the silver calculator, because that calculator doesn't make any mistakes unless you input something. Okay, let's do something interesting. Let me copy that formula. Let me just make this small. So I want you to do the following one. Let's say 3x squared minus 2x minus or plus 4 equals 0. Try to do that one. You see, it's exactly the same as the previous one. It's just your C value is not going to be -4, it's going to be +4. So you're going to do x equals minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now you're going to, if you get an interesting answer, you know your answer is correct. I already told you we're doing something interesting. The minute you get an interesting answer, you tell me what it is.
I got that it's undefined.
It's error undefined. Very good. Why? Why? Because look at this. Okay, so x is undefined. You get an error on your calculator, basically. You can also write x has no solutions. Why is that? Let's focus on this section here in the root. -2 squared minus 4 times 3 times 4. Just put that value in without the fraction. It is 4 minus 16 times 3. So it's 4 minus 16 times 3. What's that? It's a negative value. So there's a -44 under that root. And we can't solve it. There's no solution for that. So there is no x values. There aren't any x values that are equal to 0. Okay. When you study maths after school, you'll find solutions for that. But at the moment, there aren't any solutions. Why is that? Who of you can remember what this is? What I'm drawing now? What's that? Is this correct? It's a parabola.
Is it a
Yeah. Do you remember that? You did that last year with your functions.
Functions.
Yeah. So if I draw in grade 11, the parabola is going to move left and right and up and down also. So if I draw a parabola like that, this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. What you'll find is this parabola doesn't go through the x-axis. It doesn't touch the x-axis. You see that? Well, if I compare it to a parabola that goes like this one touches the x-axis. This one's got two roots or two x values, number 1 and number 2. This one's got no x values. In other words, there's no solutions where the graph equals 0. So this one with no solution would look like that. The previous one would look like that. So these quadratic equations are really important. Why? We're going to use them with algebra. We're going to use them with graphs and functions. And we're going to use them with what? Number patterns. So you're going to find these trinomials that you have to factorize by either factorize normally or through the formula. You're going to do that everywhere. Okay. So this is one section in your algebra that's very important. This carries over into your numbers and patterns. What the other thing, please don't talk. The other thing that you need to be able to do is you need to be able to do a formula, or we call that the completion of the roots, or completing the square. It's the method, basically, how they got this formula. In other words, you need to be able to show how they got this formula. That's part of your grade 11 syllabus. So we're going to take this one example. I think we try and get an easier example. The first one didn't work because we had a +4. Yeah. So that should have been a -4. So I'm just going to show you the following. Now, don't be alarmed now. Okay. This is something that you'll have to learn how to do. So I'm going to show you this again. 2x squared plus 5x minus 4 is 0. B squared, or was it a plus? No. Okay, now, if they tell you to solve x, can anyone tell me what are you going to do if I tell you to solve x? And that's going to be 3 marks in exam. You're going to do this. X equals minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and you get the answers. We've done that. Now, they can also ask you to solve x by completing the square. That is 5 marks. Okay. Just want to touch base with you again. The way I'm lecturing you at the moment is probably not the normal way we're going to do it in the future. In the future, you are going to be working this whole week already on stuff. And you're going to have also a couple of answers with regards to sums that you don't understand or you can't do. Or you're going to tell me, no, we've done completing the square. We're not interested in a lecture on that. We understand the work. Can you please continue with the following? So I'm not in control of this lecture. You are actually in control. I'm helping you with stuff that you don't understand. But at the moment, because you haven't done anything, I'm actually just, controlling the lecture. I'm just telling you what we're doing. But more and more, the more work you're going to be completing, the more and more you're going to ask me regarding stuff. So say, for instance, we started a week later, then you would have told me, look, don't do the formula. We can all do the formula. We've done hundreds of sums. Please explain completing the square rather. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we are working 1 hour per week, and that's not enough to run through the syllabus. I'm expecting you to do work on your own as well. Okay, now you have to focus. We need to complete the square. Now, the first thing we need, there's various ways of doing it. I'm going to show you the hardest or the difficult one, because the difficult method is the one that you're going to use once we start with graphs. There is an easier way of completing the square. I'm not going to show you that method because that method is not going to be helpful long term. So the first thing you're going to do, if you want to complete the square, that's a different method of solving x, then you're not allowed to have any value in front of the x square except a normal 1, a positive 1. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to factorize that 2 out. And that becomes 5 over 2x minus 2. Is everyone happy with that? So step 1 is to factorize any value in front of the x square. I'm really not allowed to use that. Are you happy? You could have also divided with 2 through it, but I'm just going to leave it like that now. Right, then I'm going to do something very interesting, and you're probably not going to understand what I'm doing. I'm just going to show you the method. I'm going to add and subtract b times a half squared in my bracket. That is making my own square. Now look at this. I'm just going to do an interlude here. Say, for instance, I had x square minus 3x, and I want to create my own square. Then I can do the following. Let's make that an easy value, x minus 4x. This is difficult. Okay, this is not easy. I'm going to do the following. I'm going to add and subtract b. B is negative 4. Is that correct? Look, there's no c value. A is 1, b is negative 4, and c is 0. So I'm going to add the b value times a half. Half of 4 is negative 2. And I'm going to subtract that again. I'm doing nothing to the sum. I'm adding and subtracting the same thing. So I'm just not changing anything. Okay, is that correct? Now this section here becomes what? X minus 4x minus 4. Oh, it becomes plus 4. And that is negative 4. Can you see that? If I just do these first three terms, I get x minus 4x plus 4. Now this thing is called, sorry, this must be a square there. This thing is called a square. Why? Because if I factorize that, I get x minus 2, x minus 2 minus 4. And that becomes x minus 2 squared minus 4. So what you'll find is that that thing on top and this thing at the bottom here is exactly the same. If I multiply that bracket out, I get x squared minus 4 again. So what I've done is I've introduced something into the sum. I've added 0 really. I'm introducing a section into the sum so that I can make my own square, so that I can have something that looks like this. Okay, but that's like whack and weird. Every grade 11 student that sees this thinks it's like, what's the point? There's a point. So let's go back to the sum. So there's the sum. I'm going to take the b value and multiply it by half. So can anyone look inside this bracket here and tell me what is the b value there? Is it 5 over 2? In this bracket, the a value is 1, the b value is 5 over 2, and the c value is negative 2. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I need you to answer me.
Yeah.
Good. Right. So you all agree the b value is 5 over 2. So I'm going to take 5 over 2 times a half squared. Is that equal to 5 over 4 squared? Yes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do x squared plus 5 over 2x. I'm going to add 5 over 2 squared, and I'm going to subtract 5 over 2 squared minus 2. What am I doing now? I'm creating my own root, own square rather. Okay, so 2 bracket. Now look at these 3 terms here. Look at those 3 terms. They become x plus 5/2 squared. It's the same like these 3 terms here became that. It's the first and the last squared. I know that you're struggling now. It's normal because you have to go and figure this out. Those 3 terms in blue became that. If I multiply that out, if someone can multiply this out, you'll get exactly the same answer. It's the first one squared. The first times the second times 2 is plus 5/2x, and the last one square is 5/2 squared. And that's exactly what I've got there. Sorry, I made a little mistake here. No one saw it. That isn't 5/2, that's 5/4. There. There we go. Who saw that?
That's what was making me so confused.
Ah, you didn't tell me. Okay, it's 5/4. I just need to learn to copy properly. Okay, good. And now I'm going to go to my calculator. Take your calculator and put that green part in the calculator. So that's negative bracket 5/4 squared minus 2. I get negative 57/16. There we go. Everyone type that green section in your calculator. Try and get that answer. Just want to remind you, I'm doing a harder method because this is the only method that you can use when you're going to do the parabola. Okay, I want you to see this section because this becomes a graph in the near future. Right. So now what? I can now divide the 2 away if I want to. Then I get x plus 5/4 squared minus 57/16 is 0. Are you happy with that? I've left the 2 I've only divided the 2 away now with a specific reason. There's a specific reason. So you agree this is x plus 5/4 squared? And that will equal 57/16. Are you with me, Ibrahim?
Yes.
What did I do? I just flipped that over to that side. Okay, now take the root on both sides. The root on both sides will give me x is 5/4, and that is plus minus the root of 57/4. Can anyone tell me what? How do I get this 4 here? How do I get that 4? Alia.
Did you square root the 16?
Yes, I square root. And it's plus minus because it can be a negative squared or a positive squared. And now look at this. Now the sum is finished. I'm going to throw that over. I get negative 5/4 plus minus the root of 57/4. And there's my answers. X is negative 5 plus root of 57/4 or negative 5 minus root 57/4. And those are the answers we got by just doing the formula. So you can do a screenshot of this screen. Can you do a screenshot? Yes. Can you?
Yes.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this for now. This is later. We're going to worry about this a bit later. All I want you to do, screenshot this, and then I want you to redo this sum just in a normal way, solve x. In other words, you're going to say x is minus b plus minus the root of t squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then see, before you do the rounding off to 2 decimals, if you get those two values. Go. You must get exactly those same values. I can't send you any homework yet. We haven't done enough work. From next week on, I'm pretty sure we're gonna do. You're gonna find. I'm gonna send you some homework to do as well. We've just done. We're not gonna in 1 hour from starting with scratch get enough work done for you to do stuff. Tell me if you get exactly the same values. And if you're not getting the same values.
I got the same values.
The one answer is minus 5 plus root 57 over 4, or the other value is minus 5 minus root 57 over 4. And if you do decimals, you'll find out, well, we got those answers previously because we just did two decimal values. You happy?
Yeah.
Alia. Did you get
Yes.
these values, Alia?
Yes.
And Abraham?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. 1 or 2 more things. Right. We're going to look at this example. Solve x in terms of u and t. Right, before we start, look at this equation. 3x squared minus 5ut plus t is 0. Can anyone tell me what a is? It's 3.
It's 3.
What do you think b is? Sorry, it's not ut, it's ux. ux. What is b? Take a guess. It's everything but the x. So this is negative 5u. And c will be t. So I'm just going to do this. X equals minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Good. Please help me. Is it negative 5u plus minus the root of negative 5u squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. Now, the problem I've got here is what? My calculator doesn't do the u and the t. So now I'm have to do it on my own. So this is positive 5u plus minus the root of 25u squared minus 12t over 6. Is that correct? So what's my two answers? X equals 5u plus the root thing. I can't do anything in that root, which is a pity, over 6, or 5u negative root of 25 u squared minus 12t over 6. Do you understand why I can't do this root? 25u squared minus 12. You understand? I can't do 5u because there's two different terms in there. Are you happy?
Yes.
So this stays exactly the same. I'm just going to delete this. Take a screenshot of that. That is something you can get. It's not very popular. Doesn't have a function except test if you can do the formula or not. We're going to try one completing the square. Okay. All right. Look at the following. I don't want to confuse you. Okay. The only reason I'm going to do this now, I'm going to show you the easier method to complete the square. Listen up. I'm going to show you an easy method to complete the square. The one we didn't do the easy method prior. This is the method that your textbook might show you right at the beginning. So this is easy method. But we can't use this with graph. And that's why I don't really like showing you. I just want to show you for reference, because when you start off by completing the square in your textbook, this is the first method they'll show you. And then you're going to feel, shucks, the teacher online showed us a method that's way too difficult. There's a reason why I showed you the difficult method. But you can, at the start, do the easy one. Now, the easy one looks like this. Please don't talk. I'm going to take the 5 over. Becomes -5. You see that? Ibrahim.
Yes.
Amira.
Yes.
So you're happy with that? I just took the 5 over. Then I'm going to divide with 6 through. X squared minus 11 over 6x equals -5 over 6. And I've got a gap there. I left this gap here. Why? So I can add, instead of adding and subtracting, I'm just going to add on both sides. I'm going to add on both sides something. That's the same as adding and subtracting it on the one side. I'm going to add b times a half squared. Okay. B times a half squared is -11 over 12. Please tell me that you can see that. Why?
Yes, we can.
It's -11 over 6 times a half. And that's -11 over 12. Good. This is an easy method. Why? I've now created the square on the left-hand side. It's just going to be x minus, I use that negative inside that bracket, 11 over 12 squared. Sorry, this is a 12. And then on the right-hand side, I'm just going to type it in my calculator. -5 over 6, and then plus whatever that fraction is, -11 over 12 squared. And that is 1 over 144. Okay, good. Now I'm taking the root on both sides. That becomes x minus 11 over 12. And this is quite cool because this is positive or negative 1 over 12. No? Is that correct? Hello.
Yes.
The
Yes.
root of 1 over 144 is a 12th. So the positive negative root is positive or negative 12th. I'm going to throw that over. So x equals positive 11 over 12 plus minus 1 over 12. And this is easy. This is just 11 plus 1, which is 12 over 12. Or 11 minus 1, which is 10 over 12. So my answer is x equals 1, or is that 5 over 6? Yes. But we know it's correct. Why? Because 6x squared minus 11x plus 5 equals 0 could have been factorized like a grade 10 student would. 6x, x, what? 5, 1, minus, minus. X is 5 over 6 or 1. The completing the square method is just another method of doing it. You have to be able to do that in grade 11 as part of your syllabus. It is quite dumb because you don't need it because you have a formula. No? But this is part of the syllabus and this can be required of you to do. Okay, so I've showed you two methods to complete the square. This method, your textbook is going to start off with. Once you hit graphs, it's going to change to another method. Once we hit the graphs, then you're going to be able to do this as if it's nothing. Okay, so what's important today? Today, it was quite important that you learn how to use this formula. This formula is necessary for harder quadratic number patterns that we are going to do very soon. We're going to stop with algebra now for the simple reason it doesn't look as if algebra is in our first assignment. Look at this. Your task must be in before the test. The task must be done between the 28th of February and the 4th of March. And that only consists of number patterns and analytical geometry. So I'm assuming we're going to start with those two sections first to get that done. So your homework is you need to be able to do that quadratic equation. You can go on with algebra. You can continue with this. I'm not stopping you. You can complete the whole chapter on algebra and ask questions. But you have to look at number patterns for next week. Okay. Have a nice week. I'll see you next week and Thursday for your maths class, and some of you have got science prior to that.
Okay, thank you so
From
much.
next week onward, we'll probably get homework. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Keep well.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.